Today on Sagittarian Matters, wedding bells are ringing and longboards are rolling as we recap the finale and reunion of Love is Blind with friend to the show, Joan Lubin. Stay tuned.
Sagittarian Matters, Sagittarian Matters, what's the matter with you? Sagittarian Matters.
Hello from the Sagittarian Matters Social Distancing Studios in High Pittington. At long last, it's the finale of the most boring season ever of a show that already feels like a lobotomy, Love is Blind. I'm posting this episode in the main feed, but if you want to access the entire season of Love is Blind and Traitors, plus see exclusive videos, bonus episodes, listen to everything early, and frankly support my life's work and read hundreds of pages of unpublished diary comics, please go to patreon.com/NicoleJGeorges and become an honorary Sagittarian or above today. And if you join at a higher level, I'll say your name on the podcast. Producer Ponyo will say it too. Don't be scared, that's just Ponyo's speaking voice. Thank you for your support. Now, on with the show. Joan Lubin is a major reality dating competition show enthusiast and assistant professor of modern and contemporary literature at Durham University. Joan joined me in the Sagittarian Matters Social Distancing Studios to recap the finale and reunion of a show that is also known as a sleeping pill in 14 episodes, Love is Blind, Season 8. Now, please enjoy my talk with friend to the show, Dr. Joan Lubin. Dr. Joan Lubin, welcome back to Sagittarian Matters.
Thank you. I'm sorry it's coming to an end.
You know, don't cry that it's over. In the words of Joey, live, laugh, no regrets.
Never forget.
Never forget. Before we talk about this special occasion, and I do hope you'll come back and join us for other television programs, but before we get into this special occasion, which is Love is Blind, weddings, and reunion, I just happen to know that you've crammed, in fact, every season of Sex and the City over the past month?
Yeah, I don't know what possessed me, but I've really been on it. I've been on the case.
You've not yet finished the films, including number 2.
The infamous number 2 is yet to come.
But I wonder, before we get into this podcast, it feels on theme to talk about boyfriends and to talk about some of Carrie Bradshaw's boyfriends. Listeners to the show know that I personally find Aiden to be Carrie's worst boyfriend, next to like Berger, and that I am a huge Petrovsky apologist.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? Do you have a couple of thoughts that you can share with us on Carrie Bradshaw's boyfriends?
She's got bad taste. She's got a lot of bad boyfriends to choose from. Aiden definitely takes the cake in my book. His unforgivable belly rubbing request while eating a bucket of chicken naked in her bed. Pardon me, in tighty whities. And she has a matching pair. Like, everything about it. Like, imagining the chicken grease on his turquoise rings. Everything about him troubles me. His melodic door knock. Even when he comes after he's demoed the wall in their shared apartment and then gotten dumped, he comes back to do a spite visit, and he still does his melodic little knock to get back in. But upon reflection, I was just thinking about how, to give credit where it's due, it must have been really intense for Aiden to be dating Carrie when Carrie had an ex who it was still super involved in her life. So involved indeed that she ended up having an affair. It's just always like calling while Aiden and Carrie were having sex and being like, hey kiddo, hey baby. And like showing up drunk and mud wrestling him. And for this entire time, Aiden does not know this man's name and has to call him Mr. Big. Like, Ouch. That's rough.
That is rough.
Carrie's done a lot of unforgivable stuff, but that's really harsh. She could have just said, like, you can call him John.
No.
No.
And this is even after she had an affair with him. And then she got back together with Aiden.
Yeah.
Still
This is round 2.
he doesn't know his name.
No.
Do you have any other comments about her boyfriends?
I rest my case.
Okay. Are you ready to talk about Love is Blind?
Born ready.
Episode 13, The Weddings.
Finally.
Please drive.
At long last, it's wedding day. We pick up from the cliffhanger on Ben and Sarah. And Sarah is here to just dash his hopes and pull the rug right out from under him. She says, Ben, I love you so much, but I've always wanted a partner to be on the same wavelength. And so today I can't. And then we get the shot I've been waiting for this whole time, which is the smug gay sister giving a quiet nod. Yeah. Ben looks totally dopey and is like, he's like, I get it. It's like, yeah. And all I know is I want to stay with you and keep growing our relationship if you'll let me. And it just, my heart broke for him a little bit there because it was just so deeply pathetic. And she's like, we'll see.
She's like, maybe.
We'll talk about that. Let's talk about that later. Her heart was there, but her head told her she couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Thank God her head came online in time to save her from this terrible error. It was looking dicey.
Then Sarah's like, follow me to her family. As they're like, are you doing okay? And later we see Devin's mom basically say that Virginia is dark-sided. But before that happens, we get to see Ben and we get to see some different kinds of Christianity, some different evangelical takes on this. And Ben and his friends basically pray for Sarah on this very day.
Yeah, they stood by their principles, whatever those may be. They might want to eradicate huge swaths of the population for their godless ways, but for Sarah, they had grace.
Yeah. Everybody in this show, in this finale, instead of going like directly back to their quarters, they go into a getaway van. They get like a getaway Escalade.
They drive around the block until they give up the goods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so does she, and her lesbian sister is in there.
We get her account of things is dark. You know, her mom's like, was it the time frame? And Sarah's like, no. I asked him about Black Lives Matter, and he had no idea what was going on. I asked him what his church's views are, and he said he didn't know. And then the mom and the gay sister just start laughing. And she's like, yeah, sometimes I did wonder if it was just surface fun, the love we had, you know. We didn't really, anytime things came up like equality, religion, or the vaccine. She's a nurse. Let us remember.
Yeah. The vaccine. We both gasped.
We did. We did.
Like, did she say he doesn't believe in the vaccine? Oh, yeah.
She did say that. Yeah, she said she was always hoping that she'd have a partner who was curious about her brain. And this man had nothing.
Remember how it exhausted him? The processing they did last episode?
It made him gassy. It really stressed him out and made him gassy.
And then they had sex.
Well, yeah, that calmed him right down. And then Sarah's like, I can't believe he wants to date. Like, what? She's like, that's a whole other conversation. How could I talk about that with him right now while wearing a wedding dress, having just jilted him? Which, yeah, fair point.
I really appreciate when you noticed him picking a rose out of the wall. Smell.
Yeah, he did a plaintive sniff and then shoved it back in. While he's pacing in his little khaki suit with no socks on.
Godspeed, bed. Let's go to Monica and Joey. So Monica's whole like glam squad morning that day feels like a death march down to the aisle. Like somehow we are getting an entire like a bunch of exposition about how their relationship is not so great.
Yes, the entire season they've been laughing like maniacs and we get nothing. And now in the final day, they're playing catch up and giving us a retrospective history of everything that has gone terribly awry between them in small ways, amounting to them not knowing or understanding each other in any way, shape, or form as they prepare to walk the plank.
Like we find out that he's working up to giving her physical affection.
Mhm.
Like it's one of the like home styled exposure therapy things that he's working on. It's one of his projects.
It seems like neither of them has ever said I love you in a way that the other person understood. They may or may not have ever touched. Like we get an account of their first kiss and it was maybe their last is kind of the vibe.
Do you remember when I was harshing on some couple for talking about love languages? I was like, you guys don't even know each other. It wasn't this couple, was it?
No,
it was
they
this
talked
couple?
about they discussed love languages.
Because one of them wanted to be touched and the other one was repulsed?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was like, God, they could really use that talk again.
Yeah.
Like just, yeah. I mean, I don't really understand what he was giving her because it seems like not a lot.
Yeah, it's totally unclear. It seems like she had a lot of anxiety and a real desire to be with a man, but why him? We don't know. The hair.
We don't know. She so Joey
Just saying.
I'm reading your notes. Joey so I found something out, which is that he is rumored to also have applied for The Bachelor. And so Joey is now like, he's gone totally, he was never up in my books, but he's going lower than low. And so now I'm seeing him as trying to produce himself and trying
They
to.
said he was growing out his hair for like locks of love. No, he was growing it out to have a reality show personality to make it past night one on The Bachelor.
Well, and so part of that personality, which I'm sure he would take onto The Bachelorette at least, is riding in on a longboard.
Yeah,
Right.
that would be his limo entrance.
Yeah. You hear like
On the cobblestone road leading up to the Bachelorette mansion.
his teeth are like shredded from hitting each other as he goes on the cobblestone road. So he longboards from the SUV into the venue door, which is about
like
4 feet.
Approximately 4 feet. Yeah.
He's like trying to be surfer man and
It does explain why his hair looks like such garbage, because he's longboarding like down the hall from his dressing room to set for sure. He's just longboarding everywhere and the wind is catching it as he goes.
he is like a festival of flyaways. It's always greasy. He took some cues from Ben when they were in the men's court. Ben was like, dude, just never wash it. Just never in your life wash it. He's like, but I'm on TV. No, still same hygiene practices as when you're alone.
Stick to your guns.
Stick to your guns. So he and his friends have a really different vibe in the men's quarters than Monica and her kind of funereal friend procession.
Yeah, Monica's got a dour gay and a keeping it real girlfriend. And Joey brought the whole football team.
Yeah. Are these the people that did a circle jerk that all like stood in a circle with their arms over each other's shoulders and went, and jumped up and down together?
It sure is. Let's see. What do they do? It seems like, okay, I forgot to look this up. It seemed like they were making a movie reference or something. It seemed like this was a kind of choreography that they had done previously and do frequently, where Joey says, I've got one thing to say. And then all the guys chant in unison, I like you guys. Then they all rush in, circle jerk each other, and bark like dogs while chanting Joey time. They had it down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I wonder if he thought he was like, you guys, I'm moving up in the reality show world and I'm taking all of you with me. All we have to do is learn this choreography and you're my squad.
Yeah, and they were in.
His spin-off show, The Pod Squad, but it's not actually about pod squads. It's just Joey and his Joey friends. All right, what else happens before they go down the aisle? Speaking of the dour gay, we have the moment where someone's like, Monica, how was your first kiss with Joey?
And she's like, it was so cute. He asked if it was okay. We love a consent king. And then her gay friend is like, but what did you feel? And then she has to sort of fumble through and try to skirt admitting that she felt nothing and perhaps even anxiety as the primary feeling.
Yeah.
They have definitely not fucked. That was my takeaway.
Oh, I'm going to tell you something from the reunion, which is that she claims they were physically intimate twice, and then he goes, once.
Oh, right. And then she makes a face, which to me, that was the face of, if you think a hand job doesn't count.
I thought it was if you think a blowjob doesn't count.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Her face was kind of stony the whole reunion, which we're not there yet, but you're not going to believe the romance story that happens before then. So Nicole is there.
Yes.
And I don't remember even what she's doing except for frowning.
She's being so rude. I mean, characteristically. But Monica says to her, I'm stronger than you think I am, and I'm smarter than you think I am, which felt really dark.
What's dark?
That was her self-empowerment speech on her wedding day to her bitch sister, who was just sitting there making a face the whole time. Being like, you're dumber than I think you are.
The whole family reveals that their family motto is to set your expectations as low as they'll go, so you will always feel a little bit excited.
Yeah, Monica reports feeling some sadness that Joey found this to be a depressing perspective on life. This was some foreshadowing of what was to come. While Monica is recounting all of this, her gay friend just chimes in, you look like a mess right now. And she sure did. She was getting her hair teased for the majority of this scene with like a sort of like tangled rug hanging over her eyes. But leave it to the gays to tell it like it is.
Yeah. So, anything else happen with Joey that feels significant before we go down the aisle?
Well, yeah, we meet his unstable mom makes her debut. That was major.
The mom he talked about in the pods where he revealed everything about her messy life.
His financially irresponsible and emotionally unstable mother shows up and she's hot and fun. I was loving her. She's all droopy lidded and sloppy. And she's like, Joey, I'm just thinking about what you always say. Live, love, and never forget. And he corrects her, never regret. And but she doesn't skip a beat. She says, so this is so cool. It's all of that.
These are two deep families.
Yes. I don't know why this match didn't work.
I don't know either. I mean, they could have, he got in with the fam jam. We never really talked about the sock bin again.
No, the reunion gives it its due.
Jesus Christ. He just doesn't seem like this day means anything to him. This is more hammer time.
Yeah, but then we get a confusing spin because his dad rolls up and sort of appraises this wildly unserious scene and says, well, if you're honest, nobody's ready when they get married. So you just do it.
Even if you've known each other for 2 weeks. That makes as much sense as 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. Great.
Monica's crew tells her, you'll know it in your heart, your brain, and your vagina.
Oh.
Makes her blush.
Does her sister say somebody says that's trying to be
the
like
friend pipes in being cheeky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And your vagina.
She got fresh for television.
And we have an idea that Monica is only going to say yes if Joey says yes. All right. We need to get to the venue.
Yeah. How are you going to get there?
Longboards down the... He longboards down the aisle.
Yeah, he longboards down the aisle, like kicks up his board, tosses it to one side, and then turns around and is like, "Mom, did you see? We got a chair here for Chassis." What the hell combo is this? You can't tell sort of like where he's falling. When his bros ask him where he's at on the anxiety scale 1 to 10, he says 5. And they're like, "Whoa, man, I expected that to be higher," which feels indicative of the whole enterprise here.
I just don't understand a thing. I don't understand a thing. Like, I have some dead relatives. The idea that somebody would signify them at something, but then also I'm just there for reality show clout to try and like get a skincare line or something. Like, it's insane.
Well, he was definitely ready to whore her out for a bachelorette trauma narrative over like a boiled chicken breast fake food dinner, like on his date right before he gets sent home. So he was ready,
Yeah.
He'd been prepping.
Yeah, it was really intense. Like this show this season, I don't know what to call it. It's like the tokenization of the disabled family members amongst them was off the charts this season.
Wild. Next level.
I know they had very little to work with as far as the couples went, but I was like, oh, okay, like the sisters were doing a little more heavy lifting than I think is appropriate for people that they would never allow on the show.
Yeah.
Which is called Love is Blind, but we'll get to that. Okay, so it's time for our vows, which I was remarking to you earlier. Like, the vows on this show also boggle my mind because people will be like, "You're my best friend. You're the best person I've ever met. No one is like you. You've rocked my world sexually." I can't imagine a single minute without you. The answer is no.
I don't. Yeah, it's brutal. It's brutal. And you have to hedge because like you have to be careful. And sometimes they're crying when they're delivering these vows, and you think it's because they're so moved by the passion and romance, but then you realize it's because they can't actually deal with the cognitive dissonance, and they're just experiencing like dissociative overwhelm that's manifesting in light tears because they're trying to say, "You're the best person I've ever met in my entire life," knowing that 10 seconds from now they're going to say, "I hope I never see you again." Goodbye forever.
See you at the reunion.
Yeah.
I'll text you a couple weeks before the reunion so we can get our story straight. Okay. Joey's vows made me want to die.
It was rough. He was like I've had more convincing vows from like the manager at the food court I worked at when they were bidding me farewell. Like he was like it was really nice to meet you. Was pretty much what he had to offer.
He said he also added, I wouldn't want to do this experiment with anyone but you.
Mm-hmm.
Which we find out at the reunion is not necessarily true.
Yeah.
He basically was like, it was nice to meet you. Monica said he's made her feel calm and centered. I'm not sure how that could be. Because it seems like he kept her on her toes, wondering if he actually liked her or not the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
So Monica goes first and she says no.
Yeah. Which was sort of surprising because we've been like set up to think that she was in it to win it, or at least contingently available if he was down. But they made her go first, which was a gift to her because then she said no out of a deeper sense of anxiety about where he was at. He's totally relieved. Then jumps to reassure her immediately. He's like, yeah, I actually don't care, so we're good.
Doesn't he do some kind of thing, like give her a high five or like turn and address the crowd? He's like, hey, everybody, thanks for showing up. Tip your bartender.
Yeah, he decides to address the crowd and give a statement on behalf of them about what he learned from his sister Chassis.
What did he learn?
She taught him to cherish the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody claps, including Sister Nicole, who it's been deemed she was clapping for herself because mission accomplished.
Yeah, you did it.
Mischief managed. If this was achieved, the thing that she wanted, she set out to do, and here we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then Monica actually reveals again that she would have said yes if Joey had seemed like he was going to say yes. But in fact, he didn't. So she said no, and she's sad.
And Joey, for his part, says that the very first time Monica had ever said "I love you" was at the altar. He says, I did not know that."
So weird.
Extremely weird.
I mean, also just to like, nobody right now is saying like, I don't believe Joey was there for the wrong reasons. You make me believe it, Nicole. But I'll tell you that I just want to remind everyone they got engaged after like 2 days. And he didn't say, will you marry me? He said, will you get engaged to me?
Mm-hmm.
Like he just picked the first warm body that would have him and was like, you and me, let's keep the show going.
Yeah, I thought that they had just shipped them right off to Honduras and whatever because they were going to come back for some more drama later or something. But that's just because they got engaged after 1 day and gave up on the experiment and just waited.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah.
That's my suspicion.
Yeah.
Okay, on to Virginia and Devin buckets. So Virginia is looking, well, everybody shows up unmade up. Virginia shows up, her hair looks incredible, and we get to watch her get increasingly more beautiful as the day goes on.
Exquisite. She's really the only one who's got anything going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's working for her. Bridal is her look.
Yeah. Her mom, who we've discovered is a representative in Minnesota, is there. Who else is there?
She's got two of her girlfriends and her mom. And then her dad and her dad's new wife roll up at one point.
And the wife also looks interesting. Everyone in her family looks really intelligent.
Yeah, they all look smart and hot in a nerd way.
Yeah.
And she's hot in a hot way, but she's still a nerd. That's what we learned from seeing her in context.
Yeah. And it's nice to see, but then also it's like we're starting to suspect that something is different than kind of like the baby voice.
Mm-hmm.
The baby voice situation that she's been giving Devin.
Yeah, she's got more going on.
His mom even comes in. I mean, I might be skipping ahead, but his mom.
Oh, yeah. That's one of the first things that happen is the mother-in-laws confer in Virginia's dressing room. And Devin's mom comes and hugs Virginia and says she's so excited to welcome a new woman into the family.
The mom is wearing a very dark lip. Her lips look very small.
It's her signature lip.
And she has her hair spiked for the occasion.
She sure does. She comes back to Devin and says, "Oh, I saw Virginia's mom. We're wearing the same dress."
Give or take. Virginia's mom looks better than I think any mother-in-law or any mother of the bride has looked on this show. She looks wonderful. Is it like sand colored?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a golden sand.
Yeah.
Her mom just knows how to look great.
She really does.
In Devin's place, there's a little kid there, and we see like a really long clip of him playing with this little kid.
Hazel,
thank you.
Hazel comes back later.
Hazel steals the show.
Yeah.
Devin's so good with kids. He's there with his family and friends. This is going to go great. It's going to be a perfect day for him.
He's got his father there to give him sage advice like men and women, they think different. He's got his brother and he's got Hazel. He's got the men to tell him what's what, and he's got a little girl to toss into the air charmingly.
Yeah.
So everything's looking good. It's sunny on the horizon here.
Virginia, this woman comes in. I had stopped paying attention and I was like, is Virginia going to get with this lady? The officiant? But it turns out it's her godmother.
And aunt.
Kathy. But Kathy just looked very invested in Virginia and probably concerned.
Yeah. I was trying to imagine the phone call. Like, hey, Aunt Kathy, so I'm doing this thing.
Yeah.
Like, what was the vision there?
I don't even feel like with this couple, we got to see as much of we always see people trying to cajole their family members into just like going along with it. But we didn't get to see the thing where they were like, you don't understand, in the pods, we were so in love in the pods. They did a little bit less of that.
It's true because they clearly Virginia and her mom's media team had meetings off camera that meant that none of that was necessary because they had laid out the terms and what was fine and whatever. They'd hashed all that out
Yeah.
in the Oval Office of the wherever the hell she is.
The Minnesota State Capitol.
Yes. It also seemed like Virginia talks to her dad once a year and basically called him up the day before and was like, Dad, you'll never believe it. I'm getting married. And then Dad was like overjoyed and just rolled up to whatever address she sent him because he was ready for it to be real, seemed to have no idea what was going on, and he was all about it.
Yeah. It seems like maybe her mom really doesn't hang out with the dad and his new wife very much.
Oh, hi, Evelyn.
Yeah.
Hey, Paul.
I do want to say the dad has a cane. And I say that because I just feel like whenever they like bring a senior citizen up, whenever they bring somebody like her dad having to walk up that whole aisle of this sham wedding, him getting dressed in a really nice suit, him and his new wife having to go interact with his ex-wife, like the whole thing, every part of it, anyone even having to pay for parking, get a babysitter, like anything that had to happen that is a heavy lift for anyone in the families, I feel is a crime from Chris Colin, Kinetic Content, and Netflix.
Agreed.
Yeah. All right. So the bouquet has been quite confusing. And in your attempts to solve this problem, which Reality Gaze, another podcast that's into, they also tried to get to the bottom of the bouquet mystery and they failed. How did it go for you?
I didn't get very deep. Everyone agrees it's giving funeral. The bouquet is wearing its own black ruffle train. We don't know why. That's as far as I got. But along the way, I did find a lot of close attention being paid to the various bouquets. And the real sleeper hit was the bouquet for Joey and Monica's wedding, which, if you look closely, is like a fistful of arugula.
It was Jassie's favorite.
Okay, so then we've got the vows.
Oh, wait. So her father walks her up her father is taking this deadly serious.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Does he give her some talk before she goes up there?
They have a little chat.
Yeah. But he's feeling it.
Oh, yeah.
He's like crying, I'm letting my little girl go. I'm like passing her off to this guy with the weird hair. Like, I'm going to join this other family.
Yeah. He was ready. He thought this day would never come. Here it is.
I forgot to say, I was just remembering when Virginia's mom was meeting Devin's mom, you could just see the horror on her face to be like, I have to be associated with this like whacked out woman. It's like whacked out evangelical or whatever she is, like for the rest of my life.
Woo. This is a win for Virginia's mom to get out unscathed.
Yeah.
Virginia could have made it work with Devin, but for Virginia's mom to have to be bound for eternity to Devin's mom, that's the real dark marriage in this picture.
Her mom, the politician, having to be attached to this family that like probably don't believe in dinosaurs is really intense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it seems all again like Virginia is touched by the romance of the moment.
Yes. Yeah, they start giving their vows and Virginia is crying before she even starts talking. She calls Devin her best friend. She's gently weeping. She says, I love how you honor all your commitments. I love how much you love your family. And it's looking like she's just so moved. 3 seconds later, she dumps his ass.
He goes first and says, I do.
And then she's crying and says, I love you so much, but I'm just not ready.
And her dad goes, what? Her dad yells, what?
He yells, what? And his jaw is on the floor. He's just sitting there agape.
The producers should all be taken to The Hague or something. Like the producers of this show, like whatever they said to this man to juice him up, to amp him up, they were like, everything they did to manipulate these families is a crime.
Yeah, he really bought in hook, line, and sinker more than anyone else on the show, as far as I can tell. They really played his ass.
More than anyone of all time, almost.
Yeah, he's never watched television even once. This would totally rocked his world.
He and his wife look bookish.
Yeah, they do.
They look like they're sitting at home reading instead of watching Netflix.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So, like, she probably like a producer told him it was a documentary about love.
Yes.
And then
Yeah, a documentary about his daughter finding her true love.
completely.
Yeah.
This is completely what happened, I'm going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he yells, "What?" And then, I forgot to say, Hazel, the little girl that was being tossed in the air in the groom's suite, was the flower girl. And as someone that was an adult flower girl, Hazel did a bad job. You have to walk slow, and you have
She blew her load early.
you have to ration the pedals. And I know it's hard because you're walking unnaturally slow, which I know from being a flower girl at age 30. But I asked my friends and they said yes. Anyway, Hazel did a bad job as flower girl. Everyone was charmed. Look at her dumping her whole bucket of petals out of the first step. But she plays an important role around here. We can talk about what happens with Devin and Virginia, but really quick, after they walk out, Hazel says to her parent or whoever, she's like, "What's happening?" And he grabs her by the arm and goes, "She said no."
It's Devin's dad.
Devin's dad. They give her the hard truth that Virginia said no.
Yep.
But Devin starts crying. Or
Yeah,
does he?
That was Virginia has accused him of fake crying in the aftermath on Instagram.
Yeah.
And upon watching closely and even rewinding, I tend to agree. There's
Really?
not a tear to be seen. His eyes don't look wet or even red. He just does the posture of crying where he scrunches his face and screws his fists into his eye sockets. And then it seems like he's just giving himself a pause where he doesn't have to be making eye contact with her or the camera or whatever to like inwardly collect himself.
Yeah.
And he does it by making a little sob grimace.
I just never knew that was an option. Like, I've never fake cried in a real scenario. I didn't know that was a thing you could do.
Well, wait till you get fake married on TV.
Or not fake married on TV.
Yeah.
So he fake cries. His family is pissed.
Mm-hmm. And so is Virginia's dad. Virginia's dad goes right up to Devin,
Oh, yeah.
not his son. And Virginia's dad says to Devin while hugging, "You're a great man, and I'm disappointed also."
Yeah.
Oof.
Because he thinks they're at a documentary about love and he doesn't understand why this just happened.
Yeah. Wait till he finds out.
Wait, I didn't. I just noticed that you said Hazel was giving Lily from Sex and the City movie vibes.
Yeah. Lily, in the Sex and the City movie, Lily is just being used and abused all over the place. She's being brought to the girls' drunken closet excavation. She's like coming to girls' night. She's like witnessing her mom get totally wasted and piping up to ruin Carrie's wedding at the crucial moment.
Yeah.
And that was sort of, Hazel was here to get tossed in the air and then ask clarifying questions that humiliate everyone.
So Devin confers with his mom.
They get into the Escalade to go drive around the block until he gives it up. And he's not giving it up. He's not talking at all. His mom is on a roll.
Oh.
She's already turning to the dark side. The devil in her is making itself known.
Yeah.
She starts hating immediately and just asking questions about Virginia's integrity.
I thought she was looking for her husband. How you gonna say you're not ready? And she just like, I'm like, that's the show. But
Yeah.
also like, are we all forgetting that they've known each other for like 2 weeks?
Yeah.
This isn't like some woman who you've gotten to know over the course of years being with your son. So they have a really different perspective on Christ than Ben and his friends.
They do. They've lost sight of him in favor of vengeance and hellfire.
Yeah. Yeah. Virginia feels bad. She's apologizing to everybody.
She's in the car with her two besties and her mom, and she's crying and apologizing to them for having roped them all into this heinous charade that makes a mockery of the sacraments that they hold dear. And they're like, whatever, girl, you're fine. Stop apologizing. Everything's fine. Good thing you didn't marry this jackass.
The mom is relieved.
Yes.
She basically said that it wasn't just that they disagreed on politics, but he never actually wanted to continue the talk. So it wasn't like he was going anywhere.
Yeah. No, nothing was going to happen there. Him and Ben would be great roommates.
It would be great to be their next door neighbor. Just silence.
And then periodic farting.
Yeah. Bad smells from under the door. And also we find out that something was awry sexually.
Well, they just didn't get there.
Yeah.
Virginia's getting loosened up. You can see she's been interviewed for up to 15 hours consecutively. You can see her personality breaking down. You can see her defenses giving up. You can see her tears drying and turning to, let me just give you the facts so I can get the hell out of here. Like, the whole vibe is different. And then she says, I wanted to protect Devin. I don't know if that's a cultural thing, but it's always been important for me to protect him. And then she just stops protecting him immediately. She says there were topics he didn't want to talk about, like politics. There were just certain things he didn't want me to push on. So there were depths of our relationship we just didn't get to, including the sexual part. Yeah. They just didn't get to it. And she thought she wanted to be clear on all those things before she decided to bond her life to someone for eternity. Fair enough.
I feel like she got that prenup just in case the producers roofied her and like she woke up married.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I think
I wouldn't put it past them.
She has her wits about her, but no, for sure, especially because she had such like, I think maybe the producers were drugging her this whole season. Remember how I kept being like, is she on Valium? Like, what's happening?
And I just thought that her eyelash extensions were too heavy.
But in fact, she was being drugged by producers and dragged through this relationship.
Yeah.
There is one snag, which we find out more about at the reunion, which is apparently there was a check. Mm-hmm. Devin's mom has a big mouth, and she, at some point, once she accepted Virginia, she got excited about her and started telling her a little too much because Devin was keeping a lot of things from her. One of the things she told her was, "Oh, did you hear my boss gave you guys a wedding gift, a check for $1,000?" And Virginia never heard about that check. And you know who has a shoe addiction? Devin.
Yeah, that costs about $1,000 a month now, doesn't it?
He's wearing some nice sneakers right now. A gift is a gift.
Nope.
All right, let's go to the couple of the year, Taylor and Daniel.
Oh boy, we got a whole vibe shift.
All right, is it rude for me or a gift for me to wonder if Daniel is gay?
What's there to wonder about? Look at him. This is a lavender marriage made for a life of bliss, if ever I've seen. When all of these people are like, "You're my best friend," I'm like, "Get a grip, girl." When these two say it, I'm like, "That's right. Yeah, you did it. Congrats."
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're going to be safe in the oncoming Trumpocalypse.
Yeah. They're going to be surrounded by an army of their natural-born children because he has never wanted a wife. He's just wanted a mother of his children.
Yeah.
That is God's will, and he's here to fulfill it with a woman if necessary.
That was the code. That's what he was trying to say to the women in the pods, and she's the one that picked it up. Nothing about him said, "I'm interested in a cream pie," a la Mason. Everything in him just said, "I'm looking for a vessel for my seed. For my spawn."
That's right.
Okay. So Taylor shows up. He's the best human being she's ever met. And she writes him a note.
Yeah. So first we get Daniel hanging out with the bros, who reads the letter that Taylor left for him in his dressing room, which is like a bunch of pablum, something, smiley face, bye boo. Love, almost Mrs. Hastings.
I feel like I would divorce on the spot.
Yeah. I'm gone. I'm leaving in the car. Back in the Escalade. I gotta go.
I don't
Never
know what I
mind.
would do. Maybe I would get a Sharpie and just put an X over it and send it back.
Yeah. Well, Taylor remarks later that she also gets a letter from him and is like, oh, I've never seen his handwriting before.
Wow.
What has been going on? So that indicates to me that this is probably also the first time he's seen her handwriting,
Yeah.
and this is what she did. It's a
Emojis.
fireable offense. A handwritten emoji.
Bye, boo. Um,
His bros have some alarming things to say about him, which also sound substantiate your gay claim, I would
Tell me.
say. The bros are like, I've never seen you emotional about somebody in any way. Never seen you like in love with somebody ever. So you're like a whole different person right now.
hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
We find out they have not had sex.
No, the guys are like, so, and he's like, we're going to keep it PG because it has been PG. They weren't planning on waiting till marriage necessarily, but just felt right to not fuck at all. just felt good.
Before making a lifelong commitment.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Why not?
This was my favorite moment in this whole thing was Taylor's overbearing, horrible mom, Connie, who had terrorized them at the family visit, shows up to her wedding shows up to the dressing room, entering by saying, "It's all about me."
No wonder she wants to escape this family for another one.
Yeah.
Daniel's somebody who could admire her, who can brush her hair like he brushes a cat. They can polish their ornaments together. The house is going to be so clean and nice.
It's going to smell really good.
It's going to smell terrific. I'm into this.
Yeah.
So we get the letter from Daniel.
It sounds faggy as hell, if I may. It's addressed to my dearest Taylor and is a bunch of blah blah. And then it includes a bracelet so that she can wear so that I'm with you the whole day. And she bursts into tears at this because her beloved wordsmith has done it again.
Okay, Daniel's dad shows up, and this is a moment like, I don't know, maybe there are people that are like, Nicole, none of this is a problem. This is all the coolest thing I've ever heard. But his parents talk about how god awful it was to have a child who was born blind and how stressed out they were that when they had Daniel, he was also going to be disabled in some way. And then when he was a typical baby, but very short, they collapsed in joy. They're telling this story in public on a show that their daughter is going to witness.
Not only is she going to witness, she's also out. She's prepping in the other room about to perform Elvis.
Yeah,
For free.
they're not paying her.
No, not a chance.
They're like whoring her out to play the piano and sing, both, for Taylor to walk up the aisle as her parents are talking shit in the other room.
Yeah. It's also, it makes sense why Daniel can't just come out already.
Yeah.
Because he has to be the normal son who isn't blind and also has nothing wrong with him so that his parents can continue breathing this sigh of relief that washed over them upon his normal birth. A lot riding on his little tiny shoulders.
His teeny tiny shoulders. So, okay, so let's go to the venue. The sister is playing piano and she's singing Can't Help Falling in Love with You, Fools Rush In. And here we go. We're going to get married.
Daniel's up first. He brings out his little piece of paper to read his vows off of so he can show that his hands were violently shaking with the authenticity of his feelings. And he starts reading, then he goes off book because it's just so real.
Wow.
He just is moved by the spirit in that moment. And he smirks and he says, "This isn't even on here. I just feel this."
Wow.
Yeah, it's deep. It's pretty deep. And what he's feeling that he had to just go off script in order to express straight from the heart was the way that you process things, that you think about things, the way we're best friends, the way I can see you being plugged into my life as the mother of my children. That's what I love about you.
And as my wife for the rest of my life. I can see a future with you.
Yeah. Wow. Then he goes back onto his script and is like, and yada yada yada, and yeah, that's what I'm into. And then it's her turn.
She reads a prayer from her journal from 2020, asking God for a husband. You are quite literally an answer to my prayers. Although on paper I have only known you for 6 weeks, my soul has known yours for the lifetime.
Yeah, she goes first. I do. And then he says, absolutely I do. And they are so into being the Hastings.
What was her last name before? It had to be like I don't know.
But she's there. She was ready to give it away. Whatever it was. She's over
It
it.
must have been like Wienertown or something. Okay, so now we're seeing a montage. How did everybody do after the weddings?
Yes.
We see Joey walking in the snow in his Hawaiian shirt. He didn't come here to date, so he's walking away forever.
We finally get his motto from his own mouth to see how his drunk mom had we could see even more clearly how she had butchered it the first time around. His motto is live to love living, never regret, which he says he learned from his sister Chassie, who was unable to say a single word. So I feel like justice for Chassie that this nonsense is being attributed to her name. She didn't say a single word. This isn't her fault that this is his motto.
This whole season is about like the nobility of people who have different abilities.
Yeah. Can you believe that they're here among us? That's the thesis of this show.
Just going heart first. Not a single more complex thought. Ben still believes love is blind, which is a lot to say for someone who just got dumped at the altar.
And then Sarah's hitting us with the hard truths. You can't date someone for their potential because they may never reach the potential, she says. Mm-hmm.
Which is very Al-Anon of her.
Yes. Her sister's getting to her.
Yeah. Devin's hair looks so bad today, as it did in the FODs. He thinks that he did everything right, and he's just really hurting right now. He can't imagine life without Virginia.
Virginia has complex feelings, but none of them involve wishing that she was with this man. No. She says that in a relationship you have to count on each other, and it hurts her that Devin couldn't count on her today. But she's proud that she put herself first, and so am I. Good job.
Then Taylor and Daniel are having the time of their lives. They're dancing to It's Raining Men. Daniel's choice. He's got his sister to play It's Raining Men.
Yeah.
And then they're singing along, dancing. He's wearing little tiny leather shorts and some lederhosen. They feed each other cake.
He's never looked better. Then we get the two of them. They take them off to some side room to have a little interview on a love seat. And they ask them what they're going to get up to tonight. And Taylor says, we will act as man and wife in more ways than one. And then Daniel's like, we'll consummate it. And Taylor says, Operation Consummation. And Daniel's just tickled. He thinks that's hilarious. He loves it. Then they both are just giggling, and that's it.
Cut to black.
That's a wrap.
We don't see them taping it to a popsicle stick.
That's for the reunion.
I think by the reunion they've had sex like 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a bet.
Yeah, but they're not bothered because they're having so much fun.
They're having the time of their lives, but let's talk about that in a second when we get to the reunion. Dr. Joan Lubin. It's been a year.
It has.
It's been a year since everyone was at the altar. And now we're all back together for the Love is Blind reunion. Welcome. Everybody comes out. Joey rides in on his signature longboard. Such a cool guy. He's trying very hard to make this his brand. We'll talk about everyone's outfits one by one, but I do want to talk about the hosts. Nick Lachey looks better than he should.
He looks fantastic. I want to steal his outfit.
It's a great outfit. He also has had a healthy dose of Just for Men. His hair is totally brown. He looks like a version of a Ken doll. He's wearing a red shirt and kind of like an orangey brown suit
Mm-hmm.
with white gym socks and white sneakers.
That part was weird. They get, little sort of grayish socks. That was strange.
Yeah.
So close.
Whatever thing was happening between Vanessa Lachey and the lighting people, whatever blood feud was going on is apparently over. She's come to terms with them. The hair and makeup people, the lighting people. She's looking a lot better this reunion than she usually does.
It's true. She looked good.
Yeah. Huge step up. Let's start with our favorite couple who we just ended with. Taylor and Daniel. Love of lifetime.
They're trying so hard. They're trying so hard to be like a polished, successful couple. And they're just awkward and weird. And I do believe that they really like each other, but they just have absolutely no appeal for television.
They don't have sticky personalities. They're not the kind of personalities that you actually want to follow because there's just not a lot there.
Yeah.
Like if you worked with either of them, they might be your favorite person at the office because they're so sweet and they think they're weird because they're like, look, I wore a Halloween costume for Halloween. Can you believe it? Hey, I'm wearing my funny holiday sweater. And you would be like, that's cute. And that's my friend at the office because they're at least willing to have a little fun. But as far as TV goes, there's not enough.
Boring. It's just boring. But Daniel did have a faggot makeover. Let's just name it. He's got a little mustache. He's wearing yet another sexy tuxedo. He's looking good.
He's wearing a navy blue tuxedo.
Yeah.
Navy blue and black.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really like.
I was a fan. He likes a classic look.
We are abused with a horrifying montage of them. What have they been doing for the past year? We see pictures of their feet touching. We see them just in a million different outfits together in the same pose. And then we see them in inflatable Uncle Sam and Eagle costumes. And when we come out of this montage, Nick Lachey says, love the patriotism, which is such a sad moment.
That was dark. I felt like Nick was kidding.
No.
Hmm.
I don't know. Well, so we have the question needs to be asked. Daniel, did you get a Taco Bell tattoo on the inside of your lip?
No, but boy did he get something else. Even better. Wait till you see this. He got Taylor's eyes. Taylor's eyes tattooed on his chest, on his pec. Slightly larger than life.
Yeah.
Right? The scale?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very 80s kind of Nagel looking eyeball illustration. He said they took a selfie and her eyes look so beautiful. He sent it right to his tattoo guy.
Yeah. I wish that they had the wherewithal to extract her eyes just as forms and just have two eyes. No. He's got a rectangle. He's got a cropped photo on his chest directly transcribed. They've got just a rectangle of her flesh within her eyes set in. It looks creepy. It looks like she cut a hole in him and is peeking out.
It's going to go great for him when he's having sex with somebody else at some point. But he doesn't have to worry about it because maybe, I'm not going to say. We don't know. We don't know.
I was thinking about her having sex with him and staring into her own eyes.
They do have the height differential, though. I don't know.
Yeah. She
All right.
can't even look into his eyes.
Virginia and Devin, let's get to them. So all's good with Taylor and Daniel.
Yep. They're loving life.
Virginia has short hair right now that makes her look like a senator to me or an anchor woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's otherwise looking great. She's looking very put together. Her makeup, her outfit, I think she's looking nice.
She showed up to do business, and she was dressed appropriately for that.
I kind of think that she was coached by her mom.
Yeah, it felt that way.
She's very like showing up to a presidential debate vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Which, and she's with one of the finest debaters of our time, Devin. So they ask her, well, can you talk about what Devin's wearing?
Oh boy. Devin has, to my eyes, the worst look of the men at the reunion. He is wearing, it looks like a Chippendales Halloween costume. He is wearing a kind of ill-fitting, double-breasted satin black blazer with no shirt underneath. It's low cut. He's got a little kind of cleavage going on, and the buttons have a kind of like silvery sheen to them. He's looking tacky. He's looking chintzy.
And his hair, has it gotten better over the past year?
It's gotten thicker.
Maybe he's using castor oil. So they kind of ask her, they ask everyone about what was happening. She says that Devin, never wanted to talk about politics, or if he did, it was off camera. And when he revealed his core values, which he wasn't willing to do on camera, she was shocked and knew she couldn't marry him. And they're like, well, what kind of core values? And she's like, well, I can't tell you. I can't speak for Devin, but what I'll say for myself is, which felt very politician to me.
Yes.
Like powerful pivot.
Yeah.
Or just in the same thing as, I think that gay people shouldn't be put to death immediately. I think a woman has the right to choose. And I think people should have freedom of religion.
So that's me. Only speaking for myself.
He still doesn't really say, he's like, I mean, everyone should get to do what they want to do. God is love. Peace, man. Virginia's been coached. She's doing a wonderful job. And I want you to know that I have heard the rumor around town even more that he was not, in fact, addicted to Dimetap. He was addicted to opioids. But because he works with children, they couldn't say that on the air.
I'm relieved. Because the idea that he had an ibuprofen addiction made him seem insane.
Yeah.
That was troubling. That was way more troubling than having an opioid addiction.
Yeah.
Like, sure, man, those are addictive as hell. You got addicted. That's fine.
Yeah.
Ibuprofen?
Weird.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Well, also, I think maybe you brought up last time or in another conversation, like maybe his family doesn't believe in the doctor.
Yeah.
So it is possible that like this was his only source of pain relief because it took him a long time to finally see a medical professional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they were praying over his knees or whatever. All right. So Devin, he kind of disagrees that they're broken up. He thinks you can be together and have a relationship and not completely agree on everything. Virginia brings up the check,
Mm-hmm.
the $1,000 check, which he still hasn't heard, seen, hide, nor hair of.
Nope.
And what does he say? He's kind of like, well, that was for our wedding, so I wanted to see if we were going to get married.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was like, after we're married, I mean, we're married, so like, it's all ours, but conspicuous silence.
Also, Virginia tries to say something about finding a letter from an ex-girlfriend on his nightstand, and he hadn't told her he saw this ex-girlfriend, and she only knew it was an ex-girlfriend because his mom told her that when she was squealing at the game about the $1 million check. But that doesn't really go anywhere.
That seemed more like evidence of his mom getting out of hand and meddling and being messy than Devin doing anything wrong. Because he said some stuff that totally made sense. He was like, yeah, she's my ex, but we dated in high school. She's actually dating my other friend now, and he's my best man. So I saw her as part of like that all sounded totally fine.
Yeah.
But his mom's messy, that we know.
And her final dig at Devin is that she really went all out for his birthday. She gave him a box with a bunch of gift cards for hundreds of dollars to his favorite stores.
So thoughtful and romantic.
A cake was in the box.
Balloons.
And then she asked him to help her carry up the box, and he was a total asshole about it.
Yep.
Which he's in the pods. Don't you think he probably was putting on a huge chivalrous game?
Absolutely.
As a man
He's
of
like, I
God?
know I'm only 24 or whatever, but the reason I hang with older women is because I'm so mature and have such good manners. He's out here throwing a tantrum on his birthday that his present's too heavy.
Yeah. He's like, you could have lifted that. She wasn't into that.
No.
Okay, so he says Virginia stopped answering. Wait, she says he stopped answering her calls.
Mm-hmm.
And then Madison and Molly, the bad girls in the corner, we'll get to them, say that he came up to them at a bar telling her that Virginia ghosted him.
Mm-hmm. And then he's like, well, yeah, they came up to me drunk as hell and just questions their morals and basically calls them messy hoes.
Yeah, he's like, these skanks came up to me. I mean, don't listen to them. They were drunk.
Yeah.
And then the women are like, and Virginia's like, but I remember that too. All three of us are lying. He's like, oh, women.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really fun thing that happens on this show. Top 5 most unforgettable moments in Love is Blind.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Number 5.
It's when what's her face said she looked like Megan Fox.
Chelsea, yeah, it was rough watching it back and seeing that she actually doesn't say I look like Megan Fox. She says she makes Jimmy guess and gets him all riled up and excited. She's like, whoever that girl is, Machine Gun Kelly's wife or girlfriend or something, and then you see his little eyes turn to dollar signs and his tongue pop out of his mouth and his eyes like go boinga boinga boinga, and then he ventures a guess at Megan Fox, and she's like, I guess so. That's number 5.
Poor Chelsea. Let's get to Ben and Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going pretty well.
It's going so well. Sarah has hives all over her entire body.
Yeah.
Her makeup stops at the chin. Her exposed chest and arms are just an eczema field of anxious blotches. Everybody's looking red and chapped and chafed on this couch, this reunion.
I feel like Vanessa's the only one who's getting a decent lighting treatment. Everyone else, the lighting is harsh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being in a public restroom. Like it's being in an airport bathroom with the fluorescent lights is kind of how everyone else looks. The men seem to not have a stitch of makeup on, so they are blotching it up. And the women, you can see you can see exactly where their makeup ends. It looks rough. There's no like RuPaul lighting on this stage.
No, sadly.
I think that Ben has had crisis PR training.
And yeah, he definitely was fed lines to say on camera in order to save his damaged reputation. He sort of remembered them. It got a little clunky in there. He gave it a go. He gave it his best try. He said something about how he knows he has a lot of privilege and he doesn't feel good about it. That seemed like he sort of dropped the ball a little.
Yeah.
He's kind of missing that he'd like spaced out a little when they were talking about that part. He says that, yeah, he doesn't know about a lot of things because he's never had to think about them because they have nothing to do with him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He never noticed what his church said about LGBT because he had no reason to think about that because there's no one in his life who's LGBT.
Yeah.
Which
not like that random girl in a jumpsuit who claimed to be one of his best friends. Not like all, quote, those people who are, quote, that way.
Who we talked about being so close to when they were in the pods.
That was his big reassurance speech when Sarah said that LGBT issues are really important to her.
Yeah.
And he claimed that all of his friends were that way. But he just missed that day. He says he tries to go to church every weekend, but he doesn't make it every week. So maybe he just missed that one where they said they wanted everyone to burn in hell for all of eternity.
Yeah.
Oops.
Sarah starts to say that she can relate to that TikTok woman now because she says Ben ghosted her. They had some whole convoluted story. I don't understand, like, why wasn't this edited anywhere?
No. She was talking about way too many details. I got so bored. I did not want to know about Nashville, this, that, her residency, something, something. She's going to build him a desk. Like, why were we getting into all this?
I had a travel nurse contract on Friday. He was going to come, and on Monday, and then on the 5th, we were going to go to Busch Gardens. It just was like so. She like brought out her day planner, was showing us her Google Cal. More long story short, she went out of town. He was supposed to meet her. He didn't, and then he unfollowed her on Find My Friends
Yeah.
unceremoniously,
Yeah.
and she was offended.
Mhm.
And he's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Oh, he lets us know that his custom is to completely cut people off during a breakup. And she says that the only time he really got back in touch with her was to rehearse their reunion questions about values.
Mm-hmm.
And then everyone's like, well, where'd you get that idea? He tries to deny it.
Yeah. He's like, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. And then Vanessa goes, but what's his name, though?
Yeah. Vanessa thought she was getting memed from that.
Yeah.
And
She did.
he doesn't say, but then Sarah's like, it was Jimmy. Jimmy the Thumb.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy the Thumb, who had a chance to get with Megan Fox and blew it. Jimmy was coaching Ben on how to look good at the reunion.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jimmy came off great.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like trying to lie. She's catching him in the lies. He's been coached by Jimmy and it shows. And
All the girls jump to her aid. Lauren backs her up. They're all just shutting him down. The girls are a united front at this reunion.
all except for Meg.
That's true. Yeah.
Meg, the pick me girl.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else about Ben and Sarah?
Ben and Sarah match. Their outfits match. Ben is wearing a tuxedo, a casual tuxedo. His tuxedo is styled like he just got off the dance floor and it was too hot to keep his tie on.
Yeah.
And Sarah has the signature hairdo of the reunion.
Oh, so this hairdo is like, so if you're wearing a fall, which is like clip-in hair, it's, it's not a weave. It's just like you took it out of the bag that minute and you just stuck it in with some little combs on your head. Basically what they've done is the hairdresser has smoothed down the front of their hair in the middle part.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see just a little bit back where one might put a bump it. You just see the bump it of fake hair, and everybody has this hairstyle. Even people that aren't wearing the fake hair have their hair molded to look as if they could be.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Sarah's working it.
I'm a fan of fake hair, but I thought it was interesting that 3 or 4 different women on that stage had the exact same. At least 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Monica had it. I forget who else had it.
Monica had it.
Madison had
Madison had it without the fake hair,
Uh-huh.
and then Sarah had it.
Yeah.
They all got hurt by the same hairstylist.
I've seen worse.
Yeah, and
I've seen better.
we've seen better. We've seen better because the Traders reunion, all those people are good at reality TV, and all those people have their own glam, and they looked incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at their hair, and every fake hair aplenty,
Mm-hmm.
but looking at them compared to the Love Is Blind people, I don't know where they find the hairdressers for this. But anyway, let's talk about Monica. You were obsessed.
Oh, she looked fantastic. She looked like she was on a different show entirely. She was a vision in red.
Queen Monica.
Yes, she was looking regal. She was looking like her dress was made of upholstery fabric. It was not going to be moving at any point. She looked like a painting. Yeah.
I think her makeup looked great. Her dress, she was in a fabric prison. It was like a red straitjacket
Yes.
wrapped around her.
They did. She got better makeup than Sarah. They actually worked on her neck and her exposed chest and shoulders. They didn't get to her hands. They didn't make it all the way down. And whenever she was gesturing, it was like a wild study in contrast.
Her little white hands floating over her deep bronze chest.
It was powerful, impactful.
So Joey looks really bad. He was like, no, I'm good, to the hair and makeup people. So he is just like greasy hair with a festival of flyaways. And he's so ruddy. I really, at this point, Joey, he's here for the wrong reasons. So we find out there was no touching in their relationship. There were no I love yous. And I'm sorry to say that I'm starting to see Nicole's side of things.
Mm.
I'm starting to rally around Nicole, the bitter sister.
Yeah, never doubt the bitter sister.
He says they never got out of the friend zone, and he says it's because of the sister.
He's really just riding that one. He is going to be taking the ship down with him.
Like he's gonna be ruining their family.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really leaning into that line.
Mm-hmm. So then we find out something else, which is that he started this whole like kind of like gaslighty, like yellow wallpaper conspiracy to like make Monica mad, like make Monica go mad, which is that he slid into Madison's DMs and was like, "Love the pink hair. Wish we got to talk more."
Mm-hmm.
He gets called out for going into Madison's DMs. He's like, "I don't know. I just wanted to say hi. I like to say hi to everyone."
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just a Midwestern friendly, you know?
I'm so sure that he wrote Alex the same thing. Your curly hair looked great in person. Wish we could have talked more. So Madison's like, "No, here's exactly what you said. You didn't say, 'Hey, how's the weather?' You said, But so then he's like, God, for some reason, Monica was just so jealous of Madison this whole time. And like, who knows why? Nobody knows. And Madison's like, why were you making her feel that way? Why was my name even in your mouth? I don't even know you. And he's like, we dated because they talked in the pods.
Once for 35 minutes.
Yeah. So there's this whole thing of Monica being like, I was jealous of Madison. And anyway, it's this whole thing. These men are a mess. And this is the moment when Monica says they were physical twice, and he chuckles and says, "Oh, I mean, once."
Mm-hmm.
And
charming.
And I guess throughout this whole time, he would always go back and report to her that Madison had been coming on to him.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Every time he goes out, every time he leaves the house.
Madison can't keep it in her pants. But I'm just like classy.
Uh-huh.
Really classy.
He got nowhere. He really just had to give it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ladies were not having it.
All right. Moment number 2 in Love is Blind history.
Like, how was this even a moment? The moment was Garrett coming out on the reunion wearing a brocade blazer. That was the moment?
With the middle part.
Yeah, with his wolf cut. It was his fashionista glow up. That was moment number 4 in the countdown.
Oh, number 4. Sorry.
We're counting down. Yeah. Uh-huh. We're
number-
going
okay,
in
sorry.
ascending order.
I would have chosen a different moment number 4.
Yeah. What would you have chosen?
I mean, I've said it on this very show before, but to me, the number 1, I don't want to give it all away, but for me, number 1 is Messica pouring some wine for her dog. Jessica being so drunk and being like, here, he loves it. Giving her golden retriever some laps of her red wine. Grapes, poison to dogs.
Yeah.
Idiopathic, not all dogs. But also, I mean, I forever love Zenob's very honest speech at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why bother saying you're my very best friend? Why not say you're a horrible shell of a man who ruined my life and broke me down, and I hope nothing good ever happens for you.
Yeah. Equally terrifying that all that could happen in 2 weeks as becoming best friends. That always made me a little uncomfortable about Zenob. I mean,
Yeah.
I love a good denunciation speech in front of someone's entire family.
Including their grandparents.
But that was a little, for me, that was a little unhinged. I'm sort of like, someone should neither be able to become your best friend nor your worst enemy in 2.5 weeks.
No, fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough. What would your number 4 be?
I don't know. I'm still got a cloudy.
What about something with like, remember like when Zach and Irina, either when they first met each other or when they went to like Mexico together, and she was like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah, no, that was hellish. Mm-hmm.
I'm just giving another one of mine. Yeah. When she's like, when they met and she was like, wow, your face looks like a cartoon character or something, the way you're smiling so much. And then when she basically was like, I hate your guts in Mexico.
Yeah.
He's like, so what do you think? How about a kiss? And she's like, All right. Let's get to the man of the hour. Dave. Dave and Lauren. Lauren has extensions that somehow make her look older. Like,
Yeah.
all I've wanted for most of these women is to come up behind them with the clip-on ponytail the whole time. And now Lauren's finally done it, but it's too much hair.
It's way too much hair. She's got nothing else going on. They did makeup to try to make her face disappear, and they just covered her in hair.
It's like a little bit of like the hair's wearing her.
The hair is definitely wearing her. It's also falling in like loose, bouncy curls at the end and a sort of voluminous way that's totally concealing, to her credit, concealing the massive, hideous jewelry that all the women have been saddled with this reunion. She's got possibly the worst earrings on stage, but you only see a flash of them once because they're just under the hair.
Yeah. I think her hair either needs to go all the way lighter or all the way darker.
I'm voting dark.
And for her, I prescribe a pair of funky glasses.
Yeah. Cover it up.
She just needs something to, take her from nerd to knockout. All right. So Dave, his sister comes up immediately.
Immediately.
He can't stop talking about his sister. Neither can anybody else. I want to read you. Well, talk us through this. I'm going to read you some TikTok comments.
Dave's sister is the star of this season. Okay, so the first things first, Dave is here to offer a mea culpa. He finally realizes that this jackass man has just been angling to get on the show or to get attention. And he's here to say, oops, and pretends that he still loves Lauren and that he's crestfallen and heartbroken.
Yeah. Well, so he went on TikTok. He started a TikTok. He has 2 videos on there. I haven't watched all of them. I went straight to the comments. The videos are him defending himself.
Mm-hmm. Say long, they're boring. There's not a lot going on.
He's saying more Dave stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the comments are extraordinary.
Wow. Yeah.
So one of the videos, the first comment with 2,914 likes is, "Did you finally break up with your sister?" Other people say, "Did your sister approve this message?" Dave, ask your sister how to turn the comments off, because that one has 17,000 likes. Because there's so many comments comparing him to Casey Anthony, like ripping into him, saying Dave's sister's holding the cue cards behind the camera. This honestly should have just been a phone call with your sister. Did your sister change your parental controls on your phone? I love TikTok.
Yeah.
For this reason.
Yes.
So he goes ahead, he gets prodded by Vanessa and goes ahead and says that Lauren is the one that got away
Mm-hmm.
and that he's still deeply in love with her. And Lauren makes a face like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, well, you have my number and I've seen you many times over the past year out at bars and you've never spoken to me. So she's kind of calling bullshit on that. And then he says staying single is just easier. And then also just, people on TikTok are diagnosing him all over town. Yeah. Dismissive, avoidant. Avoidance can't get a break. So Dave repeats his thing. Oh, before this, Nick Lachey brings the word booty call back into the ether.
Hey everybody, can we all just agree? Can we just agree here?
That a booty call is no big deal?
You can have a booty call one night and the next day meet the love of your life, your soulmate, the person you'll marry. We can all agree, right? No problem there.
Gets everyone on stage to raise their hand in agreement and pretty much the entire crowd.
Yeah, the crowd, which consists of everyone's parents.
Yeah.
Everyone's siblings.
And then some random extras that just got pulled off the street.
Yeah.
Lauren mutters, my grandma watches this show, which is a little late for her. I mean, we've been talking about her getting...
She's been disavowing the emotional significance of this Friends with Benefits every episode of this entire season. Sorry, Grandma. We've well established that you were just fucking.
Dave's talking about her getting sprayed with cum every day. And the word booty call is the thing that takes it over the line for her. Okay, so Dave just keeps his thing up again about his friends not wanting to meet her, but they would if he had told them to. It's just around, crazy making. And we may have talked about this last time, but she wrote his sister a long, loving letter, and he never gave it to his sister. And she knows this because it was in his jacket pocket when he got home. And he's like, yeah, I gave it to her. She's like, that night? He's like, yeah, I gave it to her. She's like, but I found it in your pocket. He's like, well, not that night. It was just like a whole thing. Dave's toast. Let's talk to Molly.
Mm-hmm.
What's up with Molly?
Molly is here to say, fuck your friends.
To Dave.
To Dave. She says that that either he sucks and he just didn't ask his friends in an appropriately serious way, or his friends suck. Because he did and they refused. So either way, fuck his friends, and she stands by it.
Well, so then they want to know how she'd been dating for the last year, because she was our girl that hadn't really dated men.
Yeah, never once.
No, never.
She was saving that for her husband.
Yeah. So she says no, she's been hating men for the past year. And Vanessa goes, homo, say what? You said dating men for the past year?
Nope. No, hating men.
And then Vanessa asks the follow-up question. She gets the producers in her ear, like, ask this question. So just,
Any girlfriends?
Molly doesn't deny.
No. She says, no, but that's not something I'd be opposed to.
Molly's she has full-blown lesbianism.
Huge dyke. She's out. She's out.
She's going to go meet up with Britt after this, have a drink, and learn some things. I continually think that she has the energy of Amy Adams' slutty cheerleader character from Drop Dead Gorgeous. And anybody who doesn't know that movie, watch it immediately. The next big Love is Blind moment is Jerami getting caught on Find My Friends, track me, stalk me on your phone by the woman who he was dating, who gets portrayed as such a bitch.
Yeah.
His bitch wife catches him cheating by him leaving his phone in his car when he went to hump somebody else.
He's looking all hangdog, sad and stupid.
Yeah. All right, let's get to some real characters. And somebody who I think we both have voted best dressed.
Yeah, Meg's looking good.
Meg's looking good.
She's in a blue turtleneck dress, like electric blue with some sheer parts.
Mm-hmm.
Long sleeve, floor length. She's got her sassy, short blonde hair. Looking great. The bar is low, but she's looking, I think best dressed of the evening.
I think she's best dressed for herself. I don't like the color of her makeup. I blame the makeup artist. But, I just have a different vision with the turtleneck than the peachy hue that they gave her.
Mm-hmm.
Mason looks whatever. He looks good considering who he is.
Yeah, he needs to deal with his hair part. I don't know why he's parting it at his ear for the side part. It's a little extreme.
Yeah.
For the blandness that he's otherwise offering.
Yeah. Well, so Meg and Mason, we see their god awful poor man's Love is Blind reveal that they made on their phones, because they dated after the pods. After he said that incredibly suave thing about she's like, how you doing? He's like, not good now that I know you're gorgeous. And then they get together to talk about aliens and Joe Rogan. They film their own reveal, and now they're not dating. Though they've tried a couple times, they're not going to be physically intimate, though they are quote-unquote best friends, which we see as Meg rides hard for Mason.
Nothing wrong with a booty call.
No. She is riding hard for Mr. Cream Pie. So everything seems kind of fine, and actually Madison's like, oh, I feel happy for them. Who cares?
Yeah.
Good for better meta match than me and him.
Mm-hmm.
But then Nick Lachey decides to stoke things a little bit, and he talks to our resident sex pest, Alex, who has heinous crimes that he's been accused of online, which we shan't speak of here. But Alex is on stage, and Nick Lachey gets Alex, a stand-up individual, to talk about Madison, horrible woman, who was dating multiple men at the same time, if you can believe it.
Wow. On Love is Blind, of all things.
It starts a whole pile on, and Meg comes out, and everyone's bringing up all this old stuff. Meg feels cheated. She feels cheated out of Mason as her boyfriend, but like, newsflash, she just had Mason as her boyfriend and it didn't work out. So I don't know what the deal is. But, and Alex is like, this Madison, she's got the morals of an alley cat. And then Madison pulls out of her armpit a printout of some text messages. She's got the receipts.
Mhm.
She has a printout of Alex texting her, making fun of Meg and Mason.
Pretty much, yeah. Or in fact, I mean, I wish this gun were smoking like a little bit more.
Yeah.
But she basically has receipts of Alex using a lot of suggestive emojis, and she's like, and referring to conversations without disclosing their content, referring to conversations they'd had in person, and she's like, the thing he's referring to is the thing that I said.
Yeah.
It's not like the standard of evidence is low, but I did appreciate the drama of her armpit reveal. And it also offered partial explanation of why the bodice of her dress was so peculiarly low slung, because it was full of a book of paper.
Oh, we have to talk about her dress.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of that dress?
Madison was a beautiful woman. It looked like her dress was made by Project Runway Jr. And the designers were given the assignment to show off the tattoo that's like in between but below her breasts. They were like, here's
Sternum sunburst.
it was like, but below the sternum, it was like your diaphragm.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
diaphragm sunburst. That's
Yes.
that's your thing, designers. That's your challenge.
Mhm.
Make it work. And so it was like not just a deep V, which would be one thing. It like had different elements, including some like sloppily constructed, sort of lacy, gauzy part of
A
the top.
single layer of tulle that with a raw edge that had been cut and had like a jaggedy bit where their scissors slipped.
Yeah. And that was her look. And it just was like she was going for like, I'm blonde, but I'm dark.
Mhm.
Like goth. And it
The
just
pink hair was gone.
yeah.
Mhm.
Love talking about the pink hair. Mason just seems like I don't know. Everyone is like on some kind of weird. Everyone's on some kind of weird trip about how Madison is evil and these men who were dating multiple women are not. I'm not feeling it.
No.
Um,
Well, Mason's big defense is, well, Madison was a huge manipulator. He couldn't possibly have manipulated anyone because he's too stupid.
oh yeah.
That was his defense of himself.
You guys think I'm smart enough to manipulate anyone?
Guess again.
He says the only reason he committed to her in the first place because he felt pressured to do so, which makes me insane. Like when men say miscommunication and when men talk about being pressured into doing something that they did, I'm
Mhm.
just like, get a grip, man. Grow up. Yeah. I just think the point of the show is to date multiple people, so why is Madison getting it more than anybody else?
Yeah.
All right, the number 2 moment in Love is Blind history. Do you agree?
I mean, I think there are more exciting moments with Lauren and Cameron than them meeting.
Yeah.
Like if you want to pick that relationship, sure, but like them meeting, so what? What'd that have to do with anything?
It was just like the there's a cat in the background.
Right now we're sitting next to each other recording with a full frontal view of a cat's sort of rectal excavation happening on a fireplace mantle at eye height, at eye level. He's moved on to the pause.
He's moved to the pause, but the sound is the same.
Slurp, slurp.
The rhythmic slurp is the same. All right. So anyway, everyone's hate criming Madison in the end. Lauren and Cameron meet. Who cares? It was the only moment. It was the most triumphant moment of the show, and it was season 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's been downhill from here. Back to Taylor and Daniel. I don't know. They ask how they've been liking Christmas, and unfortunately, reality has come into play. And Daniel's mom was sick, and all of a sudden, it's like wonderful. These people are actually legally connected as family because Taylor has a brother or somebody that lives near the hospital and is an administrator at the place where his mom needed to get treatment. So that's lovely. We're kind of wrapping up here. And one of the fun things we're doing, instead of making this like a tight 45-minute show, to get it to an hour and a half, we do the family sock bin challenge, where everyone in the cast gets a brand new pair of socks and has to toss it into a bin.
Including somebody's mom from the audience.
Who knows? Maybe Monica's mom.
Yeah.
Okay, the number one most memorable moment of Love is Blind, more memorable than a dog drinking wine, is
You say so.
Jessica, also known as Autumn's mom, telling Jimmy that she's hot and he's an idiot. The thing where he's like, I don't pick you. And she's like, when you see how hot I am, you're going to choke. You're going to need an EpiPen. You're going to fucking die. God bless you. And she walks out and he's like, oh, damn it. She accepts the award. She's so humbled. And she like tells people that they should always believe in themselves.
Yeah. She's done a self-tape at home to accept this great honor.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And she at home looks 100 million times better, her hair and makeup, than anybody on that stage.
It's true.
I'm sorry to say.
Mm-hmm.
She's so good at the thing she does.
Mm-hmm.
She's so good at looking that way,
Yep.
that reality show way.
Yep.
Then we find out that AD from Love is Blind that was engaged to Clay, the guy that when she walked up the aisle was like, hello, body. Hey, body. She's engaged to Ali for Love is Blind UK.
Ollie.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah. Seems great.
Seems fine.
Mm-hmm. He's really tall.
And then we get what we've all been waiting for. A concert in the pods.
We've been waiting 8 seasons for this.
A musician none of us have ever heard of.
Mm-hmm.
That we're never going to hear again.
Playing a song that I didn't even notice was in the show is playing that song.
But his musicians are all in individual dating pods of Love is Blind, and he's walking around the warehouse where they film all of this.
Yep.
It's an incredible end to an incredible season.
Mm.
Joan, do you have any final thoughts?
It's been a long journey to where? This season was rough.
This was a rough season.
Yeah.
Would you call it the worst?
It might be the worst. On the other hand, the one couple who's together, in some ways it's the best. No couples that deeply should not be together are together. And that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
We've just got one little hag and her fag who love Christmas more than they love anything. And that's fine with me.
Yeah. Do you have any Love is Blind unforgettable moments that you wish they had put in their top 5? I'm going to tell you one more. The moment when Lydia from last season, who's now pretending to be married to that young guy, that tall young guy. What's his name? Monty?
Oh, yeah. Miles?
No. Somewhere in between those two names.
With that little mustache.
Milton. It was
Yes.
right in between. Milton, I don't think they're actually together, but they did get married. When Lydia was consoling the woman who Uche had broken up with, and then we found, and she was like, we're the same woman. I see you because we're the same. And then we find out it's because Lydia got jilted by Uche.
In real life.
In real life.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, the single white female moment was something incredible. Anyway, Joan, thanks for joining us on the podcast for so many hours of talking about Love is Blind.
Oh, my pleasure.
We'll see you again sometime. Maybe for And Just Like That.
Oh, boy.
Sagittarian Matters is hosted and produced by me, Nicole J. Georges, with help from Ponyo Georges. Our executive producer is Chris Sutton, and our editor is Shauna Polly. Carolyn Pennypacker Riggs composed and performed our theme music. Please leave your 5-star reviews for us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and find us on Instagram at Sagittarian Matters. You can support our show on Patreon, patreon.com/Nicole J. Georges. Thank you for your support. See you next time.